What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Twisted Twenties. This is a podcast dedicated to reminding you of your God-given purpose through personal testimonies, trials, and personal revelations. I believe that each and every single one of us was created with a purpose, for a purpose, but it is up to us to align with it. I'm your host, T. Louise, and I know, y'all, it's been a minute since I have put out an episode, but I am excited to be back. I'm excited to just continue my journey with Twisted Twenties. Y'all, God has really been working on me these past few weeks. I'm talking about, really working on me, but what I'm about to share with y'all is going to be very raw, very open, and very honest. I know that I'm always like that on my podcast, but this episode is called Put Your Big Girl Panties On for a reason. I feel like it's something that God has been telling me to do over the past week or so. And I think it's something that I continuously have to remind myself to do, is to put my big girl panties on and do what God is asking me to do. If you guys are joining me on YouTube, welcome in. If you are my regular TTS Fam, I appreciate you. I love you. And if you are new here, baby, hit that subscribe button, because I promise you, once you join the TTS Fam, you will not want to go back, okay? Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so that you guys can stay up to date when Twisted 20s drops new episodes, as well as the I Am T. Louise content as well. If you guys would love to join me as a co-host, I would love to have you. You can send me a email at submissions@twisted20s.org. And look, I say this every single time, but if you do not want to be a co-host, that is fine too. I would still love to hear from you guys. I have been getting so many DMs. Like, I've had this podcast since 2019, and last year and the start of this year is the first time in my life that I have ever felt like I wasn't talking to myself. I've had this podcast for over probably 4 years at this point. I think it'll be 5 years this year. And I always felt like I was just talking to myself, but I have been getting some of the most impactful DMs from people. Like, let me get my phone, because I want to read some of these to y'all. I will read them in the opening of the episode, but I want to share with y'all what people are saying. And those people who are sharing their testimonies or their reviews with me, I want you guys to understand how impactful it is to me. Because when those days I don't feel like recording, the days where I feel drained, the days where I'm like, okay, God, I don't know if this is working. Is this really what you've called me to? When I get those DMs of people telling me how much Twisted 20s is impacting their life with Christ, impacting their life in general, it really, it does something. It does something for me. And so that's why I say, if you guys would love to, email me, I would love to hear from you. And don't even have to be email. You can DM me. Everybody be DM. They DM me Twisted 20s podcast on Instagram. Okay. Like, I want to hear from you. So with that being said, y'all, we about to go ahead and get into today's podcast episode. All right, y'all. So I know it's been a couple weeks, a few weeks since I put out an episode. The reason for that is I have really been going through a lot of different things with my health, and I just mentally needed time to really digest, or shall I say comprehend, and kind of just understand what's going on with my body. But before I do that, I want to share some reviews with you guys that I have been getting in my DMs. And I hope I pronounce you guys' names right. Because the one thing I will do is always call out people by their names. Because I want you guys to know that I love and appreciate each and every single one of y'all. Like, I feel like this is something that I will always do. It doesn't matter how big Twisted 20s gets. I will always appreciate people who support me, who take the time out to listen to me, who take the time out to support me, and just, understand my vision. So the first the first message that I got over the weekend, over this week, was by a young lady. Her Instagram name is Santeris, and I hope I'm saying Shanteris. It's probably Shanteris. I hope I'm saying it right. If I'm not saying it right, girl, I am so sorry. But she texted me, and every time I get a new follower or anything like that on Instagram, I always send them a DM. Hey, how are you? And I always call you guys by name because I'm very personable. But I asked, how are you? How did you discover Twisted Twenties? And why are you listening? Because I want to know, what is it about Twisted Twenties that is causing you to continue to listen? And whatever that reason is, I want to keep producing it. She said, "Thank you so much for your creation. It is allowing me to accept my mistakes and is helping me on my journey of becoming the Christian woman I know I was born to be." So when she said that, I was like, wow. And it really touched me because I have been going through so much this month and I didn't feel like doing my podcast. But reading her testimony, her review, her encouragement, whatever you want to call it, it did something for me. Like, it was like a fire was lit on the inside of me. And I was like, I have to keep going. Like, I cannot allow myself to get into the routine of not doing my podcast. So I just wanted to share that one. There's other ones that I have gotten, over the course of a couple months or so, that have really impacted my life, and that have really encouraged me. So I want you guys to know that I really and truly enjoy, and I love the fact that you guys DM me on Instagram and, let me know how much this podcast is impacting your life, because it really means so much to me. And on those days when I literally feel down, when I feel drained, those are the type of words, those are the type of responses that allow me to continue to get up and do what God has called me to do. So I truly appreciate each and every single one of you guys that have been listening to Twisted Twenties. Now, with that being said, put your big girl panties on. When God gave me the name of when God gave me the name for the podcast episode, I was like, put your big girl panties on. Like, what does that mean? So just to give you guys a little backstory, I had been dealing with a lot of bleeding, abnormal bleeding. After my mom passed, I did gain a lot of weight. So, I was like, okay, maybe it's just my hormones that are out of whack. This year, God has really been on me about eating better and exercising and things like that. I'm like, okay, God, I can do that. So I finally got better insurance, and I decided I'm going to go to the doctor. I'm going to see what's going on. So I got tested for PCOS and endometriosis. And of course, when it comes to PCOS, you automatically think infertility. And I'm like, I know me and babe are going to get married eventually. I know we want to have children. I want to be a mother. So I'm thinking about all these things. I'm thinking about the future. Now I'm thinking about the fact that my mom is not here to help me and walk me through, what's going on and all these things. So the first week was very hectic. I got poked and probed on. I got blood work done. I got tests done. And if you're a woman, you know exactly what it's like going to the gynecologist and them taking and scraping around in your, in your vagina. Like, it's a very, very, very uncomfortable feeling. And so I was so drained after getting all that done. And then on top of that, I was mentally drained from overthinking about the possibilities of what could be going on with my body. So about the second week, they got all my test results back. And my doctor calls and she's like, hey, we got your test results back. We got the PCOS labs back and you have insulin resistance. Now, immediately I'm like, insulin. When I hear insulin, I think about diabetes. So she said, since you have insulin resistance, it could be the cause of, your periods being abnormal and you bleeding for weeks and weeks and all that. So we're going to put you on metformin. Now, of course, I got an attitude, y'all. I had an attitude because I was like, metformin. My mom was a diabetic, so I really, I know the ins and out of diabetes. I know what medicines and, things like that they take. So initially when she said that we're going to put you on metformin, I instantly was like, I don't want to take it. And the reason I didn't want to take it was because my mom was diabetic and she took metformin, and I felt like me taking metformin, it was something that I mentally wasn't prepared for. As a big girl, I've never had serious health issues. Like for all of my life, practically, I've been pretty healthy. Even though I have been big. And I know that, oftentimes when you are a bigger girl, it does come with, health issues and all these things. So I was in my feelings about it, and I called my spiritual mom. And typically what I do is, if I can't hear God because I'm emotional, what I will do is call my spiritual mother, because I know that she will hear Holy Spirit, and Holy Spirit will talk through her to me. So she ended up being on the same medication that I was on. And she was like, my doctor prescribed it. I don't really know why I'm taking it, but she came to the conclusion that Holy Spirit, God, put her on that medication to help walk me through it. So of course I started taking the medication. About the third week after taking it, I started experiencing extreme swelling in my leg. Only one leg. And I know my body. I don't take medication or anything like that. So I know that because of the medication, it was causing swelling from fluid retention. I called my doctor, and I explained to the nurse what was going on. And to me personally, they didn't seem like they really cared. Oh, well, we've never seen these type of side effects from this medicine before, so it could be other health related issues. And like I told her, I said, ma'am, I don't have any other health issues. I've never had health issues. And as a big person, and when you go and see the doctor, sometimes I feel like your doctor doesn't really care about your concerns, doesn't really care about your needs. And sometimes I feel like that's why a lot of underlining causes and sickness and disease go unnoticed, because when you take your health concerns to them, they ignore it. So they were like, oh, well, just stop taking the medicine. If the swelling goes down, we know it's the medication, but start it back up. No, I'm not doing that. So, the swelling had got so bad, I had to go to the emergency room. I was at the emergency room from 7 p.m. to 1 in the morning and had not been seen. Had not been seen at all. My leg had swelled up so much, it was starting to get uncomfortable and painful. And I told my boyfriend, I'm like, babe, I want to go home. Can we just go home? I will just go see my primary care physician. I go and see my primary care physician. She does lab works and all that. And I haven't got my test results back, but that is basically why I have been gone for 3 weeks. I have mentally been trying to understand what is going on. I've also been mentally trying to reflect on what is going on. And I've just been so drained physically from what is going on. But about the third week, I felt God tugging at me. I felt God tugging at me to keep doing my podcast. One thing I will say that I've learned about myself, and this is something that I want you guys to get to. Know your strengths and know your weaknesses. It is very, very, very important that you know that. One of my weaknesses is if I go too long without doing something that I know that I'm supposed to be doing or know that I'm called to do, I will get into the habit or routine of not doing it. So about a third week, oh baby, I wasn't going to be doing this podcast. I was going to put it off another month. It was one more week was going to turn into 2 more weeks, and 2 more weeks was going to turn into a month. So when I felt God tugging at me, I was like, I have to do my podcast this month. I have to do it this week. I'm sorry. And so when God told me I need you to put your big girl panties on, I was like, God, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? I was so confused. And God said, when I tell you to put your big girl panties on, it means that whatever life throws at you, because life is going to happen. You know, we're going to endure hardships. We're going to go through so many things in life. But what God told me was, he said, you still have to be obedient to what I've called you to do. I still need you to do your podcast. I still need you to share your life experiences with people. I still need you to create content. And I still struggle, y'all. Like, I still literally struggle with being obedient to God. I know I get on this podcast week after week, and I encourage you guys to follow your purpose. I encourage you to find your purpose. I encourage you to strengthen your relationship with God. But I struggle too. I struggle to be consistent reading my Bible. I struggle to be consistent with praying to God, spending time with God, being intimate with God. I struggle with that too. I struggle with that. So when God told me, I need you to put your big girl panties on, because there's people that I need you to reach. I need you to put your big girl panties on because there's a purpose that I have put inside of you. I need you to put your big girl panties on because there are missionary trips I need you to go on. I need you to put your big girl panties on because there are people who you are going to impact and change their lives just based off of your testimony, just based off of your experiences. I need you to put your big girl panties on because I have called you to do something so spectacular that nobody else will do it. I need you to put your big girl panties on because your purpose is connected to the next person's purpose. And if you don't fulfill your purpose, you're putting someone else's purpose at jeopardy. And that is why I am back with another episode of Twisted 20s this week. Because I had to put my big girl panties on. And I had to say the same thing I said last year when God revealed to me that until you do what I've called you to do, you will stay stuck in this place. I had to say, okay, God, whatever you need me to do, whatever episode you need me to put out, whatever words you need me to say to your people, I will do it. Every day, sometimes I think that you just surrender one time to God and that's it. Every day you surrender. Every day that you get up, you're surrendering your decisions, your will, your life to God. You have to surrender fear. You have to surrender doubt. I thought about something the other day when I was doing a get ready video with me. I thought about something when I was doing a get ready with me video. And I thought about it like this. Well, really, God gave me the revelation. But he said that, would you really be fearful to do what I've called you to do if it wasn't something that you were called to do? And if you didn't get that, I'm going to rephrase it. Would you really be fearful to start that business if God didn't call you to start a business? Would you really be fearful to go on a missionary trip if God didn't call you to go on a missionary trip? Would you really have doubt in God to fulfill whatever promise that he said that he will fulfill in your life? And when I got that revelation, I said, wow, Who am I to be disobedient to a God who wrapped himself in flesh? A God who wrapped himself in flesh, came to earth, endured it all. Pain that we could never imagine. Died, went to hell, got the keys, rose again in 3 days, and said, "It is finished." Who am I to be disobedient to that? Who am I to not allow myself to be a part of his redemptive mission for the world? We all have an assignment. We all have a purpose that God has put on the inside of us, because we are all a part. We are all puzzle pieces. We are all chess pieces, whatever you want to call it. We are all pieces, moving pieces on a board to God's redemptive mission for the world. And when we are not on our assignment, we put other people's souls at risk. We're putting ourselves at risk. The enemy will plant fear in your mind. He will plant negativity. He will plant doubt. He will bring up stuff that, like, this old. He really will. He will bring up your past mistakes to make you think that you are not worthy enough of what God has called you to do. And what God said to me was, if I didn't call you to do it, would you be fearful to do it? And he also told me that because I did call you to do it, that you will be prosperous, that you will be successful, that you will accomplish everything that I have set out for you to do. But you have to be obedient. You have to do the work. Sometimes I honestly feel like I'm repeating myself over and over every episode. I really do. But I really and truly believe that until we understand that we have to do the work, God is not a genie. He doesn't grant 3 wishes and whatever you've asked for, it happens. You have to take step by step. Every year, let me say this. Every year that I've put out an episode is a little step that I've taken. And I am just now, it's been 4 years. 4 years since I have done my podcast. 2 years since I have been gearing it towards God. The first 2 years, it was nowhere near glorifying God's name. I was into witchcraft, crystals, burning sage. I was into all of that. And then 2 years later, God called me back. And he showed me what he wanted Twisted Twenties to be. And I turned it into what he wanted it to be. I'm just now seeing my fruit that I've been sowing sprouting. And as I'm saying this, y'all, this is literally God pouring revelation into me as I'm speaking to you guys. When I get those DMs, those are those seeds that I planted. They're sprouting. When I get new followers, those are the seeds I planted sprouting. Because I have done the work. And now God is allowing the seeds that I planted to sprout and grow, because he has already called and destined for me to do this. So why would I not be successful? Why should I be fearful? And why should I doubt that this will work out? So when God told me to put my big girl panties on, he said that I know that life will life. Life be lifing, y'all. Okay? Life really be lifing. But even though these things are happening around you, something that my spiritual mom says to me all the time that I really keep with me. She said, things will affect you, but you cannot let it infect you. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back. Things will affect you, but you cannot let it infect you. And that is why God told me to put my big girl panties on, because I was starting to allow these issues of the world, these issues with my health, these things that were happening in my life, I was starting to allow them to infect me and keep me from continuing on the path that God had called me to. I hope that you will not allow doubt, fear, your past, mistakes, shame, whatever it may be. I hope that you will not allow it to keep you from being consistent, doing what God has called you to do, even if it's something so small. Even if God has called you to start let's just say God called you to start a t-shirt business. I will use that for an example for myself. Even though it's not a t-shirt business, it's an apparel, okay? It's apparel, baby. We're going to have more than t-shirts. I'm telling y'all. I got one of them on now, but I'm not showing it because I'm telling y'all, the brand is going to be fire. Anyway, a little step would be buying t-shirts, buying blanks. I don't care if you I don't even know how I'm going to get these shirts printed, but I'm going to invest and I'm going to get all the colored t-shirts I want right now. Invest in that. That's a small step. I don't care if the small step was trademarking your business name. I don't care if the small step is buying that ring light that you know that you need to film your content. I don't care if the small step is investing in a course from someone else. Take those steps. Do not sit around and allow life to infect you. Do not sit around and allow life to keep you from the very purpose, the very thing that God has created you to do. It is so much going on in the world. And it is so easy for us to get caught up with what's going on. It's so easy for us to forget about God. It's so easy for us to treat him like the side chick. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I've been treating God like the side chick. I haven't been consistent with my Bible reading, haven't been consistent with spending intimate time with him, but God always still finds a way to speak to me. And I don't know about y'all, God don't talk to me like some people say, oh, God talk to them, a certain way. Some people may say God talk to them like a father, okay? God don't talk to me that way. God talks to me like how I talk to y'all. You need to get it together, my girl. You need to put your big girl panties on and keep it pushing. That's how God talked to me. Because that's how I talk to God. I will literally lay in my bed and I'm like, God, look, I love you, but I don't want to do this. I love you, but I'm going to need you to help me be obedient. I love you, but I need your strength to do this. Because if I don't have your strength to do it, I'm not going to do it. I talk to him just how I talk to y'all. And that's how he talks to me. God talks to everybody differently, but we all understand and know when God is speaking to us. So I hope that this episode was impactful. I hope that you guys are ready for next week's episode. I'm hoping that I will have my friend. I'm going to try to see if my friend can come over and we can record, her episode that I initially was supposed to do with her a couple weeks ago, that I didn't get to do because, of everything that was going on. But this year is going to be Twisted 20's best year yet. This is going to be my best year yet with everything that I am pursuing. And I know that it will be my best year yet because God is on my side and God said that it is so. And that is the same thing with you. Whatever God says that He has for you, it will come to pass because He said that it is so. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. Thank you for continuing to listen to Twisted 20s even when I don't post. I still appreciate you. I love you. I would love to hear from you. You guys can follow me on social media at iam.tlouise on pretty much everything. Instagram, TikTok. You guys can follow the Twisted 20 podcast on Instagram and TikTok as well. And make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find me at iam.tlouise on YouTube as well. So yeah, I love you guys and thank you so much for listening to me and just joining me along on this journey of life. It is a blessing to have you guys along with me on my journey. I love you guys. Peace, love, and blessings. T. Louise.